joining me, Paula, for Exercise 101. I know I'm a little bit up close and personal today, but I want to do an exercise with you before we actually get on our feet and moving. And in order to do so, I need to give you some background. But before we get started, I want to thank you for joining me for class today. I want to remind you to always consult with your physician prior to starting a new exercise regimen or changing your exercise regimen. Also, be sure when taking this class that you prepare yourself accordingly. And in order to be successful, you want to make sure that you're starting off with a good pair of shoes, okay? So if you haven't gotten those good shoes yet, make the time and put in the investment in getting some good shoes that'll last you throughout the year. And then if you find yourself increasing in your activity, even changing your activity. So if you're going from walking to running, then definitely make sure you change your shoes. So just like how certain things, appliances in your house get worn out, your shoes, your piece of equipment is one important piece. Your shoes tend to get worn out fairly quickly depending on how often you're using them. And if you're using them daily, which you should be doing some activity of daily living daily, then you're going to use them out probably within the year, if not sooner. So just go ahead and put that in the back of your mind and put it in your budget to know that if you continue on this journey, that you're probably going to need to replace them more often than not. All right. Please make sure you're wearing loose, flexible clothing. So a nice breathable top, breathable bottoms. Good socks are always a plus too. But sometimes some people just don't like wearing socks, and that's quite all right. But you do whatever suits you best. And if you like socks, you wear them. And if you don't worry about it. Make sure you have an open space to do the exercise we're going to do today. Also, make sure that you're checking us out on all our social mediums, to include Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and just make sure you're looking for the UMBC Recreational Center. So again, thank you for joining me for class, and I hope you enjoy what I have to present to you today. Today we're going to talk about aerobic and anaerobic. So those may have been terms that you've learned before, or you may not have heard either one of them, or you may have heard aerobic. Aerobic is a term that we typically use when we're talking about activities such as walking, jogging, and swimming. And it's typically what we do or what we think about working out. Well, there's also another term called anaerobic, and I'll go into more detail about that soon. But in order for you to gauge where you are on the aerobic scale or anaerobic scale, you need to have an idea of where to find your pulse and how to take your pulse. So you may have seen at a fitness facility at some point in time in going to one, if you've been to one, and if you've never been to one, then you may not have seen it, but you can look it up on your own. Sometimes there is a chart on the wall, and on that chart there's a percentage, and sometimes you'll see that based on the activity that you're doing, that your level of oxygen will decrease the more stressful the activity is. And that is a certain threshold. And on that chart, it'll say maybe like if you're walking, then you're using maybe about 30 to 40% of your oxygen capacity. And your heart rate is between a certain amount and a certain amount. Okay, maybe 100. 70 to 90 beats per minute, something to that sort. Just the number to throw out there. It is not meant to be completely scientific accurate. I'm just using it as an example. And then on that chart, they'll continue to integrate or subsequently and through certain number ranges tell you that when you increase your activity, the more stressful the activity, then you're probably going to use more like 40 to 50%. If you went from walking to jogging, you'd use 40 to 50% of your oxygen level, and then that number of beats per minute would then probably go up to like 75 to 80, something to that effect. And then it'll continue to increase and show you on that scale. And then at the bottom, it may show you that when you are sprinting, okay, that if you are a typical sprinter, an Olympic sprinter, then you're probably going to use 97 to 100%. Something really, really high, and then your beats per minute or heart rate per minute is probably going to be somewhere in the 200s or something to that effect. Either way, this chart is an easy access chart for those who are in the facility to use as a reference to see where they may stand. Well, in doing that, they've just done a generalization. They took a bunch of people and they did this scientific study to help you have that chart as a quick reference. But the basics or the basis of them getting that information is heart rate, right? So when we take our heart rate, we want to take it in either one of two places, just like them. They may use machines, but we're going to do it the good old method, tactile method. You can either take your pulse and your neck, also known as your carotid artery. So what you do is you take your hands, you put it on the front of your neck, you slide it over, okay, about an inch, and you feel like right up underneath your neck, and you'll feel your pulse. Now, if you find that you can't feel it, move your fingers around until you do, okay? And that's how you would take your carotid pulse, one in your neck. You can also take your pulse by using the wrist. When you go to the doctor, sometimes they want to take your pulse. They'll oftentimes use the actual finger pulsometer, and they'll put it on, and it'll read your pulse for you through your fingertip. But sometimes you'll get a nurse who would prefer to do a radial pulse. So they do it on your wrist. And when you do it on your wrist, you want to pretty much be relaxed in with your arm. And you want to take two fingers, usually your pointer and your middle finger, and you want to place it, okay, just above where your wrist bone is. And you'll see, like on your wrist, that you have probably a couple of veins sticking out. You want to put it there, and you want to feel around until you feel your pulse. Now, if you are very healthy, then you'll find that you may have a little bit more flesh in certain areas, and in one of those two areas, and that's okay. Just continue to move around until you feel that pulse. That's the point. Move around until you feel the pulse. And when you feel the pulse, you want to hold on to where that pulse is and count each beat that you feel for 1 minute of time. So what I've done is we're going to practice. I have set up a timer for us to feel for the pulse. So first of all, feel your pulse. Get an idea of where it is, either in your neck or on your wrist. Pick whichever place works for you. And then I'm going to start my timer, okay, because you should have already found it. And when I start my timer, I'm going to say start, and you're going to start counting the beats, okay? And when you count the beats, I want you to remember that number or take a sheet of paper and a pencil and write that number down. When you're taking your pulse for the first time, that we're going to do shortly, please sit down and be at rest and be calm, okay? Take some deep breaths. Make sure your heart is beating at a steady rate. This is the very reason why I didn't want us to start out with our warm-up just yet. So I want you to take that number. I want you to write it down after you take it, okay, on a sheet of paper if you know you're not going to remember it, because we're going to take our pulse several times throughout this workout, okay? So go ahead, feel for your pulse. Get an idea of where it is, and then we're going to get ready to start to count, okay? Not yet. Almost. Ready? On your mark, get set, go. And stop. Okay, so take that number down, whatever that number was. For me, mine was 80. I don't know what yours is, but whatever that number is, write it down, okay? And make sure to remember it. That number, whatever your number is, write it down. Now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about aerobic and anaerobic and how we're going to use them today. And I want you to know that those are one of 3 types of workouts we're going to talk about doing today. So aerobic workout, okay? An aerobic workout is a large muscle rhythmic activity. And when we think about that, we think about the fact, well, what aerobic actually means is the presence of oxygen. And it is taking place when you do large muscle rhythmic activity, such as walking, jogging, or swimming. So whenever you do any type of movement, such as walking, jogging, or swimming, then you're doing an aerobic exercise. But technically speaking, anything that gets your heart pumping, okay, a little bit faster than it would at rest is an aerobic activity or an aerobic exercise. If you jump rope, that's aerobic, okay? If you run, that's technically aerobic, all right? If you play hopscotch with your kids or grandkids or whomever, that's aerobic. Hiking is aerobic. So pretty much any activity is technically aerobic, okay? Now where the word anaerobic comes in, if you're wondering how to spell it, this is how you spell it, anaerobic. That means without the presence of oxygen. And what typically happens is you typically use very small, quick twitch muscles, and it produces all-out exertion, such as when you see an Olympic sprinter or an Olympic swimmer or even in weightlifting, okay, then you're typically in the anaerobic stage of a workout. Now, do know that you could take an aerobic exercise and make it anaerobic, okay? So you could be jogging, or better yet, running, and if you decided to incorporate sprints into your workout, then technically your workout would end up being anaerobic. When you want to change the shape of your muscle, you have to do anaerobic exercises, okay, or add an anaerobic portion to your exercise regimen, okay. Yes, you could get some results by just running, right? You could tone, you'll see some weight loss, you'll see some transformation in your body, absolutely. But let's just say you wanted to do a little bit more. You want it to be a little bit more defined in your muscles. And you decide that the way you want to do that is through running because you love running. Then I would suggest to you to do some sprinting along with your running, okay? Because when you stress the body in a certain way, okay, and you remove most of the oxygen, I'm not going to say all because then you'd be dead, but if you removed most of the oxygen from the muscles and deplete them, then it gives them the opportunity to rebuild to a different state and level. And what you're technically doing, and I know this may be a little bit more scientific than we're looking for, you're stripping down the muscle just to rebuild it up, regenerate it, and make it longer, leaner, and more fit. All right? That's pretty much what exercise is. But there are different levels of fitness that'll take you to different levels in results. So, anaerobic, all right, is the basics. It is your walking, jogging, swimming, okay? It is simply getting your heart rate up. You still have some oxygen. You can talk to your friend while you're walking. You can talk with your on the phone while you're jogging. You can swim just laps and keep doing it all day. That's aerobic. That's you moving your body. You're not putting any stress on it. Anaerobic, you are putting stress on the body. You are to the point where you're so tuckered after you're done doing this quick exercise, or one form of this quick exercise, a quick form of each exercise, that you don't want to talk. you literally are breathless. You have no energy or talk, or you don't want to do anything else. You simply want to just rest and come back to your resting state. So what we're going to try to do today for our workout is we are going to we're going to start off aerobic, and we're going to try to get to anaerobic. I have selected 3 exercises for us to do and 3 rounds for us to do them in. We are going to do each exercise for 1 minute, just like we would do on our warm-up. And we're going to take our pulse after each round for just 1 minute. Now, what I want us to do is I want you to make sure that you're not taking too much more of a break between each set. And I will try my best not to talk too much between each set so that you can have the most accurate results possible. And what I want you to see is, hopefully you'll see it. I'm not going to tell you yet, but I want you to see a difference. Before we get into the workout, remember, I'm going to tell you about this word that's called Fartlek. Not yet, but I will, and I won't forget. Okay? So go ahead and clear your space. Make sure you had a sip of water. Make sure that you're calm. Make sure you're dressed. You're ready to go. And let's go ahead and start with our warm-up, and then we're going to transition into this anaerobic so we can get a feel of what I've been talking about. All right, so the exercises we're going to do today, nothing unusual, but we have our marches, we have our kicks, and we have our lunges, okay? Remember what you do for your marches. It's going to start the way we normally would. So normally we start off with our march. Our march is a regression, okay? Low to the floor, okay? When we start to progress, we bring them up, okay? Our knees up to about 90-degree angle, okay? For round 1, for the marches, we're going to do low to the floor. For the marches for round 2, know that you can do half regression and half progression, okay? And for round 3, I want you to try your best to do all progression, all right? Same thing for the kicks. Kicks, we've been doing low to the ground. Our progression is when we pick them up and we kick forward, okay? Same thing. Round 1, low to the ground, okay? Little kicks. Round 2, half and half. Round 3, all progression. And finally, lunges. When we lunge, we start out with a high lunge, little bend, okay? Keeping our balance. And then when we get to our progressive lunges, we're trying to get down as low as possible, 90-degree angle, 90 degrees in our knees, okay? All right. And remember to have your pencil and paper really close to you so that you're able to write down your pulse when it's time for you to take it. And I have my little timer here for when we're ready to take it. I'm going to take it for 1 minute. All right, here we go. So starting off with our marches, and then we're going to do our kicks and then our lunges. All right, here we go. Marches in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So march, feet low to the ground, arms by your side, elbows at about a 90-degree angle. If your arms come across your body, it's totally fine. Remember your cues, okay? So remember when I say transition, you transition. No long pauses in between because we want to make sure we get the most accurate results. And just breathe. Remember, this is your easy round. Nothing too strenuous on the body. 30 seconds to go. Good. About less than 20 and almost at 15 seconds. Then we're going to go into our kicks, our low kicks. In 10 seconds. Excuse me, 4 seconds. 2 and 1. Kick forward. Kick and kick and kick. Good. Just breathe and relax and enjoy. Good. About halfway there. 30 seconds to go. Almost at that 15-second mark. Fifteen seconds. Get ready to lunge. 5 seconds to go. 2, 1, and lunge. High lunge. Hands on your hips. If you also like bringing your arms up, you can do that as well, okay? Remember, after this round, we are going to take our pulse. Good. About halfway there. About 20 seconds to go. Less than 15. Get ready to take your pulse. Not quite. But in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Take your pulse. Same place. Start now. And stop. All right, take that number, write it down, okay? Because we're going to get ready to restart this whole cycle. Round 2, half regression, half progression. Starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So marches, okay? Marches for 30 seconds, low impact, regressive marches. Feet low to the ground. And then at the halfway mark, we're going to do our progressive march, okay? 90-90. So 90-degree angle with our knees. Knees coming up to about waist height or as far as you feel most comfortable and whatever your progressive state was. 3, 2, 1, and up, okay? So what I mean, whatever your progressive state was, everyone didn't always start out at a 90-degree angle for their progression. Sometimes it meant that some people just simply lifted your feet a little bit more off the floor. And if that was you, that is quite all right. That is your progression. Good. Less than 10 seconds to go. 10 seconds to go, actually. Then we're going to go into our kicks, okay? In 4, 3, 2, 1. Kick. Low to the ground. And remember the 30-second mark, higher kicks. Ten seconds to go. 4, 3, 2, 1, kick up. Good. Kick. Get it as high as you can. All right, feel your heart rate increasing. You're doing a little bit more work and you're doing it a little bit faster. That's good. Almost there. 3, 2, 1. Good. And for your lunges, here we go. Higher lunges. Good. Give it 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 90-degree angle. Gonna take our pulse after this, okay? Seconds to go. 3, 2, and 1. Find your pulse and start counting. And stop. Very good. Write that number down. All right. Round 3. We're going to get started in 2 and 1. So 90-degree angle in your marches, all progression for 3 minutes. Then we're going to take our pulse again. Good. Don't forget your kicks are going to come up to waist height, just like how your marches are. We're about halfway there. You can do it. Stay with it. Ten seconds to go. 15 seconds to go, actually. Now it's 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and kicks. Kick. Good. You got it. Breathe. Might feel yourself getting hot here. Keep that spine nice and upright. Halfway there. "15 seconds to go." And it's definitely 15 this time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lunges. Right into it. More than halfway there. Ten seconds. 3, 2, and 1. Find your pulse and take it. And stop. All right. So go ahead and grab your water. Don't sit down because your heart rate is already high. At least it should be. So you may have noticed that with your heart rate, it increased every time we took it. So after, or when we started, for example, my heart rate was around 77. When we did the first round, my heart rate only went up 3 points to 80. The second round, my heart rate went up to 100. And round 3, you want to guess? My heart rate went up to 140. Okay? So you would have to do a certain calculation based on your height and your weight to determine what your max heart rate would be, because everyone's maximum heart rate is going to be different. So for me, I know that 140 is not my max heart rate. I just know that based on my history and my calculations that I've done on my own. But that chart I mentioned that's at the gym, that's something also you can look up on your own to tell you when you are shifting from aerobic exercise to anaerobic, and when that oxygen is depleting from your body or is lessening, or the presence is lessening. That chart, that quick reference chart, will give you an idea of where you stand if you decide to move into an anaerobic stage of working out. Now remember, I want you to be very, very careful when you do this. If you have any medical condition, specifically ones dealing with your heart, please consult your physician prior to making any changes, especially to this degree in your fitness regimen, okay? Have that consultation phone call with them and just say, hey, I learned something, or I want to try something. I want to make sure it's a good fit for my body. And it doesn't just have to be heart issues. But again, any medical condition that you think may be at risk for you making a change of this caliber, please consult your physician first. Do not try it first, okay, and go all out with it. Consult your physician first, all right? As I mentioned at the beginning of this class as well. So, also listen to your body. If when you have decided that you're going to do this and it's a good fit for you, talk with your physician, listen to your body first, okay? If your body does not agree, that's okay. Put it on the back burner for now, and you can come back and pick it up later, all right? So again, notice that your heart rate increased every round, all right? And then what will happen is the more you start to do things like round 3, is the more that you will expand your heart's ability to do more for longer periods of time. But for now, in the start of your journey, or as you continue on this journey, you can always alter your exercises to do something similar to what we just did. Notice, I didn't do anything different. We've done marches, kicks, and lunges before, okay? All I did was I made them a little bit more intense. And remember, we've talked about using equipment to do that, right? So if we want to make our lunges a little bit more intense, more progressive, we can drop our knees to a 99-degree angle. Or we can use like a curve or a bench and elevate our lunges a little bit, okay? So one foot on the bench and then switch it out, okay? So you don't necessarily have to do anything drastic. The only thing you want to do is kind of increase your heart rate a little bit more and press on to another threshold in your fitness journey. All right, the thing I want to talk to you about right now is called Fartlek, all right? Funny word, right? It's that word I held up at the beginning. All right, and what that is just a different type of working out. So I've talked to you about aerobic workouts. I've talked to you about making your aerobic workout more anaerobic, and I want to talk to you about a fartlek workout. So if you are one of these persons who have a elliptical, treadmill, bike in your home, and you're saying to yourself, well, I really like working on these pieces of equipment. I don't really want to go outside to change up my workout to make it more anaerobic. Then you can use a Fartlek regimen, all right? So a Fartlek regimen is pretty much adding incremental increases for the workout. So an example would be, if I were running on a treadmill, okay, I would start out and do maybe like a 3-minute warm-up at a rate of, let's just say, walking pace, 4 or 5. And when I got ready to run, I would then increase the speed to about 7, anywhere between 7 and 9. And that would be my jogging pace. And I would jog at that pace for 1 minute. Then I would go back to my warm-up speed of 5 for 30 seconds. Then I would go back to my running speed of 7 for 1 minute, 10 seconds. Then I'd go down to speed of 5 for another 30 seconds. Then I'd go back to my running speed of 7 for like 1 minute and 30 seconds this time. So each time my speeds are varying between 7 and 5. And then when I run, I continue to make the time longer and longer for my running. And when I walk or jog, I would say, when I alternate and I go to my warm-up speed of 5, then I either keep that time the same or lessen it. And when I do that, if I lessen the time each time and I get a little less rest breaks in between, then I'm putting more stress on my heart in a good way, of course. And I'm therefore driving myself to that anaerobic stage, okay? So we're going to try it a little bit, all right? And we're going to go between walking and jogging in place, okay? Actually, just do marching and jogging in place. That's a better one. So for our marches, we're going to do low impact marches, regressive marches. For our jogging or running, okay, we're just going to jog in place. We're not really going to run too hard, all right? Just to show you an example. All right, so we're going to get started, and we're going to start off with, we already did our warm-up, so we're going to skip that part, and we're going to go right into what would be the workout portion. So in 5 seconds, we are going to march low impact. Go. So we're going to do this for 30 seconds. This is your low impact march, your aggressive march. This would compare to when I said I started out, if I were on a treadmill and I did my warm-up, I would do it at a speed of 5, and I would do the warm-up for 3 minutes. But when I'm in the workout, I go back to my speed of 5, and I only do that speed for 30 seconds. All right, let's go to jogging in 3, 2, 1. All right, so I'm jogging, moving my feet a little bit faster, and I'm going to do this for 1 minute. Then I'm going to go back to my small marches for 30 seconds, just like I would on a treadmill. So with my treadmill example, I was using a speed of 7, and I was doing the run or the jog for a whole minute. And breathe. Don't forget to breathe. 20 seconds. 15 seconds. 10 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, march. This time, we're only going to march for 20 seconds. Then we're going to go right back to our jog for 1 minute, okay? 10 seconds down, and let's get ready to jog in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, jog. Come on, stay with it. 15 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1, march. This time we're only going to march for 10 seconds. Okay? Jogging in 3, 2, 1. 1 minute. Okay? So now you're getting a feel for it. And the Fartlek mode is a great mode of exercise that you can get in 30 minutes or less. Okay? And still meet your goals. And still have a quality workout. 30 seconds to go. Come on, stay with it. 15 seconds to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and little march. And we're just going to march until I say stop. And this will be equivalent to a cool down if you were on that treadmill. But some key things to remember when you're doing the aerobic workout, you can take your time to warm up. You can keep that activity at a steady rate for the duration of the workout. And then you can cool down differently than how you would with an anaerobic workout. An anaerobic workout, because you're working or using those small twitch muscles and developing them, you have got to make sure you get a really good warm-up. Really good warm-up. And you have to make sure that you do a really good stretch pattern before you go into just anaerobic exercises, okay? It's what football players do, Olympians, as I mentioned before, competitive swimmers, even gymnasts, okay? Even though their anaerobic stage is more about flexibility, nevertheless, you have to be very, very warm in your muscles, down to the core of your muscles, in order to get them to move in the way that the anaerobic mode will call on them to move. So again, if you choose to add that to your workout, please give yourself enough time to warm up adequately, okay? Prepare, then do the anaerobic stage, and then cool down adequately. And make sure after you're done with such an intense workout that you replenish the body with lots and lots of electrolytes, okay? So foods and drinks that are going to rehydrate your muscles. Okay, slow your feet down just a little bit. Hydrate your muscles, replenish your body, fill it back up with the nutrients that it might have lost during that workout, okay? Make sure that you're stretching often, even well after the workout is done. And you're always getting the liquids back into your body, all right? So let's do a little bit of stretching. I want you to bring your arms out to the side. And just push your chest forward and reach behind you as much as possible. You're going to feel a stretch through the front of your shoulders, through your fingertips, and even through the lower part of your back. Keep your feet on the floor. and them hip distance apart. For that Fartlek workout I mentioned, that's a great workout for you to do if you only have 20 minutes. Warm up for 2 minutes, then start your incremental increases. Okay, give yourself a big hug, overlap your arms, and grab behind your shoulder blades and push your fingertips into them and just hug yourself and just breathe. So if you have 20 minutes for that Fartlek workout, warm up for 2 minutes, all right? Incrementally increase for about 15 minutes and cool down for 3 minutes, all right? All right, switch the arm that's on top. Now it becomes the arm on the bottom. And remember, when you stretch, hold a stretch for at least 15 seconds, at least. When you feel that muscle that you're stretching relax, then go deeper into that stretch. Good, bring both arms up. And we're gonna bend one arm at the elbow. Okay, bend one arm at the elbow, place the hand flat on the back. And then take your other arm underneath and try to reach for the fingertips. Okay? And we're just stretching out the front of the shoulder. It should not be painful. It should be very relaxing. If it's uncomfortable to you, please stop and rest your body instead. Okay, let's switch the arm that was on top. So my right arm was up and my left arm was down. Now opposite. Now I have my left arm up and my right arm down. Your fingertips do not have to touch. Not only are you going to feel a stretch through the front of your chest, through the front of the shoulder, you're also going to feel a stretch in the arm of the elbow that's pointed up. Right here, this is called a tricep muscle. So in the back of the arm. Okay? Good. And release that stretch. Now what we want to do is we want to take your right leg, and we'll do this exercise from behind. You're going to take, or stretch from behind, you're going to take your right leg behind your left leg. You're going to take your right arm up. My fingers are pointing straight up to the ceiling and are stretched. And now you're going to lean to the left. Hold your balance. Lean to the left as far as you can without rolling yourself forward and keeping more of and shell. It's not a shell stretch, so keep your chest open and your arm over your ear, and you should not see your arm fall in front of your face. Good. Bring that arm down. Now I'm going to then uncross your legs. I'm going to do the same exercise but looking at you. So I'm going to change sides. Remember, balance, equality. You're going to take your left leg behind your right. Okay. You're going to take your left arm up. And then you're going to lean to your right. Okay. So remember when I said don't fold forward? This is what I mean. Don't do this. Don't fall forward. My arm is in front of my face. I can see it. I don't want that. I want to keep my arm over my ear, and I want to feel a stretch all down my side, the left side. It's called an IT band stretch. Keep both feet on the floor. This also helps with your balance. You even get a little bit of a workout, a little bit of a crunch on the right side. So those muscles are also working. And bring that arm down. Very nice. Now I want you to take your shoulders and I want you to roll them back. Good. Now I want you to take your shoulders and roll them forward. Good. Now I want you to take 3 breaths. So remember, we tell our body that we're done and we've done a good job. Come on down. Inhale. Bring your arms up. And exhale. Round your arms down. And inhale. Arms come up. Fingertips are pointed towards the ceiling. Pull the belly button in. And exhale. Round your arms down. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Thank you for joining me for class today. I hope you try out some of the things we talked about. And if you need to consult your physician first, please do. Until next time, see you soon. Bye now.